I got invited out to New York to play the newest Pokemon games early, and now I get to talk about my experience, my opinions of the games, and how I think overall with the mechanics and things that are being introduced. This has been such a dream come true for me. So I am a lifelong Pokemon fan. Pokemon Red was my first game as a wee little child, collecting the cards and watching the anime. So to now be at a point that I get to go out and have this exclusive opportunity is honestly baffling. I cried when I got the message. So it was super, super cool. It was a little bit of a journey to get there though. I had a flight booked, but I wanted to take the flight from Detroit because it was cheaper. I could get Delta points, and I got to the border and it was an hour and a half long wait because it was Canadian Thanksgiving. So I would have missed my flight. So I quickly decided to just pull out of the borderline and just drive to New York instead. It took about 12 hours. It definitely did not say that on the GPS that it was going to take 12 hours, but it was fine, including the 1.5 million gas stops as well. The highway being closed at midnight, where I just went a little crazy. Yep, that happened. And getting to the hotel at like 1 a.m. when I had a super early appointment with the game the next day, but 100% worth it. So show up to the place. We're not allowed to take any videos of the place and whatnot. Completely understandable, but they did stage a little area to where we take pictures that I got to post that on Twitter. Super, super cute. They also had food and drinks, just like little waffle snacks and some bottles of pop and stuff. But it was a really, really nice touch. Then we got to play the game. We got to play an hour of the actual game and then do a Terra battle with the other 3 people that were in our time slot. Now, to talk about the game. We didn't start it from the beginning, I will say that. So we didn't get to experience the beginning part. We all got to play Pokemon Scarlet, so that's the one that I will be talking about, though I'm sure for the points that I'm going to be talking about, it's going to be similar for both versions. So we were started on the first route, but we were just given 5 Pokemon that were already like level 20-ish. So obviously things at that point was really easy, and then we were allowed to explore the first part of each campaign. And obviously just run around in whatever map area that we were allowed to run around in. So that is how the gameplay experience played out. Now, to talk about the game, the mechanics, and what I got to see. First, just the overall world and gameplay. Obviously, getting the games, you get to go on Koraidon or Miraidon and be able to explore the game that way. I stand by the trailer and like, I don't know how I feel about the look of these Pokemon, but I will say the travel feature and how that works is amazing. First off, I just biked around for a bit. Then the Nintendo person's like, you can press this button to like give yourself a boost. I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I'm trying to do something with the gym leader lead up thing. And then he's like, you can hold this button and you're going to jump really high. I was like, what? Okay, that's really, really cool. Okay. Then get to a part of the map where there's a bunch of cliffs and I jumped like at the cliff, seeing if I could like get up high enough. I couldn't, but then I started climbing the cliff. Then I get to the top of the cliff and you can jump off and glide. And considering how big and alive the world was, being able to have that movement option was super, super cool. My biggest thing about an open world Pokemon game was kind of being worried that it would be small or the movement would be weird or kind of suck, but the way that you're able to be on these ride Pokemon and move around the world, I think was really, really cool. And even just from playing a little area of the map, it seemed really big and like, I don't know, expansive. So being able to have the movement options were really cool. It was very fluid. I'm a big fan. And it's a big step up from the past games where things were constantly blocked off and you couldn't go certain areas. So despite the fact that I still am not 100% sold on the designs, the movement of the Pokemon were super, super cool. Now, the world itself. I wasn't the biggest fan of Legends Arceus, but I did like seeing the Pokemon in the overworld. And obviously the wild area and Pokemon Sword and Shield left a lot to be desired. You kind of just would go into the grass and there would just be groups of like the same Pokemon. And despite the fact that there was an attempt to make the world feel alive, it didn't really feel like that. This was a lot different. Obviously, I only got to explore a small part of the world, But I even stood there at one point and just watched a Pokemon run past on the path, and other ones are in little groups. You'd be walking along the path and there would just be like a horde of like Shinxes and like all come at you. Like it felt alive. It actually genuinely felt alive, which was a really, really cool experience. There was a lot going on around you, and you could either choose to immerse with it or not. And I thought that was really cool. Is I would be intrigued to see on later routes where there's, you know, stronger, bigger Pokemon, like how that would play out if different areas and different, like, I'm assuming environments. Every Pokemon game has, you know, the different environments. I'm intrigued to see how that would play out, but at least from the routes that I got to play, the game felt very alive, which I loved. I did ask the Nintendo person if it was shinies in the overworld or not. I assumed with going straight into battle it would be. He did not answer, but then Sarah B Joe apparently caught a shiny, and it was overworld. So there we go. I didn't get to experience it. I didn't get an answer, but someone actually got to play the game and find out for themselves. Also, world's first shiny. Like, damn, why can't that be me? Why can't that? No, okay. But then, yeah, we'll talk about the going into the battle. Like I said, wasn't a fan of Legend Arceus, though I will say that just like the more fluid thing is very nice, and this game did it better. I kind of just, I don't know. Legend Arceus left a lot to be desired for me, just what was my style of thing. My biggest worry with Scarlet and Violet was that it would be too much like Legends without improving on it. And I feel like there was a lot of improvements. The fluid going into battle felt really, really nice. And it was cool to still see the world alive in the background while you were still doing that. I love that. No longer do we have just the static background images or just the standard, you're on this route, so it's going to be grass. You're on this route, so you're going to get ice and mountains. Like, no, you get the background that you actually just entered the battle into and get to still see the world be alive. And that was really cool. Really, really, really just well done in general. Now in the battles, I did get a chance to use the new terastallizing feature. It's such a tongue twister though. I'm just going to start calling it anything but that. But I did get a chance to use that feature. My biggest issue has been the little hats. Not the official name, but I call them the little hats. Regardless of that, the animation is pretty cool, a little lengthy, pretty cool, and how the Pokemon looks jewel-like is amazing. The move animations combined with that is also super duper cool. I got to try out Terra Blast as well, and I know a really big question people have in the community is, what is the base power? Is this going to be overpowered? Is this pretty underwhelming? It is 80. So pretty, you know, standard, I think, in terms of actual competitive VGC. That's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out in terms of move coverage, obviously, with how the Terra Blast works with your Terra type. So, yeah. Then we'll go into the different battling feature that they have, which is the Let's Go battle thing. This I wasn't too fond of, but I also just... Maybe when I'm actually playing through the games, then it'll be a little bit different. But when the hour span that I had and what I wanted to do in that hour span, I wasn't really interested in sending my Pokemon out to do that. I did have to interact with the world at some point, and it was weird, and maybe just because I didn't play too much of Legends Arceus, it felt weird to me. But I did like the fact that you can take your Pokemon along on a journey and have them follow you, and I did play around and test that out, and it seemed very fluid, very nice. I obviously, with BDSP, Pokemon looked weird, but this one, it didn't. I had my little Wiglet follow me around for a while. It was very cute, and that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted, Pokemon. I just love the Pokemon following me around. It is the best thing. All right. I will say, the picnic feature, I did not try. The Nintendo person was like, go make a sandwich. And no, I'm just kidding. But like, he did say like, oh, there is this feature available. And then I was like, oh, I didn't really care about that feature personally. So I didn't want to spend the hour making a sandwich. I'm assuming it played out just like the video. It is cool to see the information that was then revealed with the sandwiches that I didn't get at the time because I, didn't do that. But regardless, I still think other than the things that I want to accomplish that I'm not really going to be using this feature much. Character customization. Love, 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 love. It seems like the possibilities are endless. I went into the menu. I was instantly overwhelmed. I looked at a different couple of eyelash options, and then I'm like, I'm out of here. This is something that I could easily get caught up with on a long time customizing my character, and I love that. More customization options, the better. I really don't see in any sort of game where you are your own person why you shouldn't have 1.5 million customization options. So thank you, Nintendo, Game Freak, Pokemon, whoever's like, yes, let them have eyelashes. I need to thank you because I appreciate that. Then one thing after we had our hour of time to explore everything is we got to do one of the Terra battles. I will say, as someone who didn't do the most max raid battles because I just kind of found them a little boring and tedious, I will say the feature looked really, really cool. I'm intrigued how I'm going to feel about it after doing 5, 6, 10, 20 Terra battles. But as it stood, the way it played out and the way it looked was really cool. So I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic. All right. So that is my overall thoughts and opinions of the game. There is a lot that I did get to see that I can't talk about, though. Oh my God, I wish I could talk about it. Especially this one. There is a lot. So I will answer some questions. I won't answer any in the comments, maybe. I don't know, because I don't want to accidentally give information away. Also, I'd appreciate if people don't discuss leaks or ask me to confirm leaks because I cannot do that. If there is certain questions that I'm like, you know what, I did actually kind of miss this, or this is something I can elaborate further on, I will make a video and discuss that. So feel free to ask. If I just don't, answer, then I can't necessarily talk about it or won't. But yeah, I'm really excited for the game to come out. My overall opinion of the game as a whole, as it stood with the hour that I played, I'm very excited for this game. I was already excited as a Pokemon fan, but I do actually think that this open world feature that they have and how they built out the world has insane potential and could be extremely game-changing in how Pokemon games are played out. I feel like even going down this path that they had, I didn't get to experience the multiplayer in the actual game itself. Also, emoting, that was in a different video. There's a boat. So cool. I feel like the path that they're going down, it could even be like Pokemon MMO in the future. There's just so many options out there with how they're building out these games, especially with how graphics and systems are evolving. And I think this is an extremely promising step. I'd have to see how the rest of the game plays out before I can say this is the best Pokemon game ever. But if my indication, how I played it out, if the game is completely finished and tuned like that, I think that this could potentially be up there for best Pokemon game ever. I do normally have issues with the endings of Pokemon games. Sun and Moon I was very fond of until the final island. Sword and Shield, I feel like the last 25% of the game ruined the game. So that is a big indication. But already with how things are built out, the mechanics and new features introduced, I think this has insane potential and insane promise. And I cannot wait to be playing it, streaming it, doing all of the Pokemon Scarlet Violet coverage that I can once the game is out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you're most excited about in these games. And if you do have questions, like I said, no promises, but maybe we'll do another video and discuss a little further. Because already it has been 15 minutes and I don't know, my mind is, there's so much about these games. Anyways, see you all soon. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.